Hi, I'm Jim Hotaling. I'm here with Rapelang Rabana, and she is the founder of Rekindle Learning.
Correct, yeah.
And I am really fascinated by the technology that you've embraced, and you understand about the future of employee engagement and what is that in a learning environment and how we educate employees in the future and make them leaders, and the true understanding of the neuroscience behind it.
Sure.
I'd be fascinated if you could share some insights with our audience about where you see the future of employee learning.
Sure. The work we do at Rekindle Learning is sort of quite varied. We're sitting in the present and trying to push companies into the future, I guess. And in the present, we're really trying to optimize how everyday things are done. From old school training programs to trying to get companies to adopt microlearning, adaptive learning, learning on the go, so that the stuff that they do in regulations and sales is actually much more engaging for their staff. I think that's a basic employee engagement step one that we're trying to get companies on the road for, because that actually puts them on a mobile platform that we can then start to use to drive new things to them. One will be around the skills of the future, I think. And in my talk, I really talked about how we need to take a different approach in how we develop people going forward. A lot of us, when we talk about the skills of the future or the fourth industrial revolution, we talk about whether we need coders or data scientists, or we need critical thinkers or problem solvers. And what I hear from that is a lot of noise and not enough clarity on the capabilities that we really want people to have. But more than anything, in that noise, I hear the need for wide adaptability, for someone to be able to tackle whatever task or challenge actually comes at them, whether they're at work or at home. And this is what's led me down the neuroscience path in this neurobehavioral space, where that's much more about looking at how does the human mind work and how do we build the right underlying capabilities in people so that whatever circumstances arise, they're able to respond and tackle that challenge, because that's actually what we need in the future. We're no longer in a position where we can specify the role of a project manager and get them a 4-year degree and know that they will qualify and do what they need to do for 90% of their role. That has now changed dramatically. We can't predict maybe half of their job function anymore. So now we need to equip people with different things. And when I look at adaptiveness and responsiveness, I'm spending a lot of time unpacking what would that entail? What are the components of that would need to give people?
So as we chase the new context of competencies, and we're always going to be chasing them now,
Sure.
to your point, you'll attack that through micro-learning and things like that, because that way it just keeps the cycle going?
Sure, we will tack that onto just the mobile experience, because essentially when we decide and have the clarity to know how do we develop for whole brain function, how do we develop for initiative, how do we develop for independence and those things, we still need to be able to use challenges and experiences in real life to trigger the brain and to impart the learning. So the same way we would have used microlearning to teach you some theory, now we can use the same mobile app experience to trigger the kind of activities or challenges you need to do as an individual over this coming week or month to improve a certain aspect of your neurobehavioral response. And this is where I see the mobile phone playing a key role, because I believe it can get to a point where if we deeply understand the competencies we're trying to build for, it's your day-to-day coach on your personal development roadmap. And now it's beyond just teaching you what data science is. It's not just teaching you what AI is. It's actually giving you the challenges to develop your whole brain function, for example.
It's all about the human at the end.
Sure, it's definitely about the human, because for me, I'm coming from a family where both my parents were lucky to break out of poverty, and I know what an education can do, and I still feel that there's a huge lottery ticket to success, and I'm very, very curious about how do we make that more systematically available? How would we democratize that access to success?
Awesome. Thank you so much for your insight. I find that completely fascinating, and I think our audience does too.
No,
so thanks again for your time.